You need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. We need more dogs.
First sight jumps off the page. You look at what this team lost: Patrick Queen, Jadeveon Clowney, Geno Stone, John Simpson, Kevin Zeitler, Devin Duvernay, Ronald Darby, Gus Edwards, and Odell Beckham. A lot of these guys were kind of role players on the team. And if there's anything Harbaugh loves, it's just plugging and playing. I think Kevin Zeitler. How was Kevin Zeitler last year? He was really
Kevin
good.
Zeitler was good. Kevin Zeitler was good.
Patrick
John
Quinn
Simpson was so-so. Geno Stone had a career year. Jadeveon Clowney was probably their best edge rusher.
Yeah, I mean, lost a lot. And I mean, I've been kind of saying it for a while. I mean, is Derrick Henry, like, is he that guy? Like, I want him to be that guy, but is he that guy? I don't know.
I think he's still really good. It's just that, like, you get nervous, right? Because if he loses a little bit of speed, it can all go downhill really fast.
And also,
and like
the thing that people don't really, I mean, when I watch Derrick Henry, it's like he's not that great in short yardage, even though he's huge. Like, he's a monster, but he's not great in short yardage.
Yeah, I guess he's probably more a head of steam type runner.
No, you give it if he goes 5 yards untouched, like, there's a chance he's taking it to the house.
I like what they did in their draft a lot. I thought Nate Wiggins was a steal at 30. Rosengarten I thought was great value at 62. I'm not 100% sure if Rosengarten is going to start at right tackle or not. I believe it's between him and probably Makari or maybe Falale. But really, you got Rosengarten, if he can, is your best bet, I think, out of those three. But we'll find out as we get into camp and all that good stuff. But really, the things that stand out to me here are, like, love Zay Flowers.
Yep.
But outside of that, it feels like you're back to the drawing board at receiver in some respects. Like, Bateman he had flashes again last year.
I don't hate Nelson Aguilar either.
No. So I was actually, I flipped on a game and was watching it, and I was surprised by Aguilar. Like, I thought he played better than what some of the numbers might say. And I do wonder, there was some talk or a press conference with him the other day where he was talking about, the importance of the chemistry within the offense in year two, and which made me kind of feel like he might just be one of Lamar's guys at this point and have a lot of trust there. We'll find out. The O-line does I'm not big on Tez. He can run a go route really well. So, like, if he's your clear out guy, that makes sense. Like, he'll be good at that. The O-line makes me a little nervous with Ben Cleveland, with potentially Rosengarten, a rookie starting at right tackle, a rookie for all intents and purposes starting at left guard because Andrew Voorhees missed all last year with a torn ACL. That's just a lot of change on an offensive line.
Yeah.
Losing a guy like Kevin Zeitler, that's a big deal. He is a really good football player, even if he was a little lower down than his career norms, like getting up there in age. He was still a good football player for them. Defensively, this graphic is disrespecting Michael Pierce so much, and it's because it's snap count. Because the percentages here, it's a mix of PFF grades and snap counts over the last 2 years. Michael Pierce missed all of 2022, so his snap count so his grade instantly went way down. But he's only played one healthy season the last 3 years. I think it's either 3 years or like 1.5 in the last 4 years. So he stayed healthy all of last year. I do question whether that's doable again with his history.
Roquan Smith is good.
Holy crap. Well, you know why Roquan's good?
Because Matt Pierce is so good.
Because Michael Pierce is a freaking 360-pound monster who no one can block.
He's a Harbaugh guy through and through.
Oh, dude, this guy's tape is like chef's kiss. It's so beautiful. It's so free. He's the best nose tackle in football. Dexter Lawrence is probably the better nose tackle because he has more pass rush upside, but like Pierce is right there from it, just like what he gives you on the field. When Pierce is gone, this defense cannot operate the same. I'm convinced. No. I didn't watch games without him, but I'm convinced with how much he covers up for those linebackers and keeps them clean, this defense cannot operate the same. And I love Roquan. I watched him without a strong nose tackle in front of him in Chicago. He was still a hell of a player. But Michael Pierce multiplies how good Roquan is.
A lot of my optimism for this team is Harbaugh. I mean, a bad season for him. Even when you look at the roster, you say what's there is a 9-win team. They have the 2-time MVP. I'm actually a little bit higher on their skill positions than you are. I like Nelson Aguilar a lot. I like Rashad Bateman. I like what Tez Walker can do for him. If Mark Andrews can stay healthy, I mean, I know you like Mark Andrews. But
I'm concerned about his health.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He hasn't
if
been
can
healthy in like 3 years.
Yeah, but I mean, just what Lamar Jackson can bring to the table, and I mean that constant threat of having to know what he's going to do, and I feel like this defense is always like they play so well to complement their offense that you could watch every game they play this season and be like, how are they like? And then look up at the end of the year and you're like, oh shit, they're 10-4 going into like the last couple of games of the season. So that plays a huge factor of just like looking at the roster. Then you're like, oh yeah, Harbaugh is still the coach.
Don't get me wrong. I still think this is a playoff team. Like we can look at some of Lamar's. I think anytime you got Lamar Jackson, you're talking about a playoff team. With how many pieces that they lost, I just wonder if it's a retooling year for them more than a Super Bowl year for them. Like last year was the Super Bowl effort. Like that was we are all in on getting the ring this year. And now in 2024, I think it's like, okay, we need to recoup a little. We need to restructure our cap a little. We need to do some stuff. We still think we can compete for that Super Bowl, but we're not all in on it this year. And that's how I feel looking at this.
Get to the playoffs and anything can happen, but
yeah. And like Andrews, if his health goes down, Isaiah Likely has shown you enough that you feel okay about that.
Yeah.
This receiver room, it really does make me nervous. Like I want to like Bateman. I really do. But like, it just hasn't happened. It hasn't worked. And it's like, at what point are we saying it's not, we can't expect a breakout anymore. 400 yards might just be what he is.
Yeah.
And
this team could really use a Brandon Ayuk.
What?
This team could really use a Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, they could. And I think Zay Flowers is primed for a big year. He looked awesome last year. And Derrick Henry can only help their offense, in my opinion. I mean, I think they're going to.
Oh, yeah.
Even if he goes down, I think you feel fine about Justin Hill.
Keaton Mitchell looked great last year
until his knee blew up. Like that thing just exploded. So we'll see how he comes back from that. This running back room is actually a little thin now that I'm thinking about it with the Keaton Mitchell injury standpoint.
Yeah, so, and the Ravens are just constantly injured too, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. They practice hard. I mean, I assume it's because Harbaugh practices hard. You know, he expects his guys to be hitting. He expects he runs them hard through training camp. But there's some impacts that I think there's some on-field serious benefit to that. But I also think there's some injury impacts that do occur. Looking at the O-line, we talked about it already a little. I mean, Ronnie Stanley is not quite the same player he used to be. He's still a good football player. But I do not think that you're getting the same quality that you used to from him.
He's my cousin.
Is he?
Yeah. Mom's maiden name is Stanley.
Oh, okay.
Can't you see the resemblance?
You know, now that you say it, I see it. But the area that, like, I think their tackle room, their depth there is actually pretty strong. Like, there aren't many teams that are holding 5 offensive tackles that they feel like they could play.
That can all play, yeah.
But it's the interior depth that really does make me more nervous. Like, you got 2 proven guys on the interior, and Mikari, you want to throw Mikari in the interior? Okay, that makes sense. So you got 3 guys who really feel like are interior. Josh Jones can probably play some guard as well. Like, I know he's done that before, so maybe I'm being a little harsh on it there. But I don't see a third starter that's clear cut here. And Voorhees is talented, but again, he's a rookie who's coming off an ACL in my mind. And I loved Aumve Laulu out of Oregon last year in the 6th round. I loved his tape. I think that he might have a chance.
What was that name again?
Play. Malasala Aumave Laulu. I don't have the phonetic spelling in front of me like I do during the draft, but I think, and I don't know what's coming out of Ravens camp. I just know his tape from Oregon I loved, and I think that he should deserve a chance to see snaps. But when you're talking about being a playoff team and you want your second-year, sixth-round pick to see snaps, that just makes me a little nervous. Or when I'm thinking that. Like, that's just not typically a recipe for great success. But it's also the Ravens who just tend to make that shit work.
Yeah.
So, and then on the D-line, I think Madubuike is going to be awesome. Again, he had that big breakout year last year. Pierce's health is just so important to this defense to me. Like, when he's healthy, this defense can be anything they want it to be, I think. But when he's not healthy, he's irreplaceable. He's an irreplaceable player that just matters so much. He occupies two gaps easily, which just frees up somebody else. And that's just a hard thing to find.
Broderick Washington's just the best defensive lineman in the league.
Well, yeah, he went to Texas Tech. Come on.
Forgetting to mention.
I mean, I do like their interior depth. I just don't think you can replicate Michael Pierce. And with his health history, it's a real concern for me. On the edge, I think this room is missing a lot. Like, Kyle Van Noy is a good player, but he only played 40% of the snaps. He's up there in age at this point. Jason Owe is fine. We know what I'm really interested in with this room. Mike McDonald did a really outstanding job of hiding the lack of edge talent that they really had and being able to scheme stuff up. And I need to see if the new D coordinator can do the same thing.
Matt McDonald, Seahawks legend.
And then I don't think losing Patrick Queen is going to be a big deal again. I think he played.
Where did he end up?
Steelers. And he was a good player for the Ravens last year, but like when you're playing behind Michael Pierce and next to Roquan, I think that's going to amplify you quite a bit. I think they'll be able to replicate that as well as Michael Pierce's health allows them to.
It was expected that Patrick Queen wasn't going to stick around whenever you trade for Roquan and then give him a monster contract. Just like, you're not going to then go out and pay your other linebacker.
Yeah, no, agreed. And then the cornerback room does make me a little bit nervous. Marlon Humphrey, another guy kind of like Ronnie Stanley. He's still a fine player, but he's not who he used to be. And then behind that, you got Nate Wiggins and TJ Tampa, two players who I liked in the draft, but again, they're rookies. And that's why I keep coming back to this thought of it's a retooling year for them. They're probably still a playoff team, but it's not the Super Bowl year that last year felt like for them.
I look at all these players too, and like I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm like, they're gonna find a way to figure it out. Like, there's probably like at least two All-Pros that we've glossed over. Like, they're gonna look up at the end of the year and they're gonna be like, oh, best player at their position in the league.
They might have the best safety tandem in the league between Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton. Like, that is very good. Scary.
Remember when he was slow?
Yeah.
Nobody wanted him.
Here's the thing with that: you can be a little slow. If
you know where you're going.
If you're a step slow, but your arms are so long that you make up for that step, you can just be a step slow because your arms are just really freaking long.
If you're a step slow, but mentally a step ahead, then you're fine.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That too. If you're a step slow with good instincts and really impressive length, you're going to be a step ahead more often than slow.
What was always crazy about that draft, it was like everybody freaked out about the 40 time, and it's like you turn on the film and I'm like, he never shows up slow in film. So it's like, what are we worried about here?
It was just, he was different. It's because he was different. And the NFL is sometimes just scared of different, especially at a position like safety, where the NFL has had a really brutal time evaluating safety talent the last 5 years.
That's true.
Like, it's become a position that's very difficult to evaluate by traditional
And then who knows
standards.
what would have happened if he didn't land in Baltimore.
Yeah. With a Mike McDonald who really just capitalized on all his talents in such an impressive way. This new D coordinator, or I'm not sure about his background, but to me, there's a lot to prove that he can keep up that level of play calling and feel for the game that Mike McDonald brought. But now we can talk futures. Sorry, I want to get a little in depth on each team.
No, you're good, brother. Bengals was 7.5, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is 11.5 plus 132 minus 162 for the under. Playoffs at minus 286 for yes and no at plus 205. Winning the division at plus 140. AFC champ at plus 490. Super Bowl champ plus 950. So Vegas likes this team more than the Bengals, which makes absolutely no sense to me. As much
I think
as
the public has bet this up a lot.
yeah, and as much as I like Harbaugh and everything I've said
lose
about
that
this
many
team and the 2-time MVP, you can't look at both these rosters and be like, I think the Ravens should be the favorite. Honestly, if you're talking value here, plus 205 to miss the playoffs for a Lamar Jackson-led team, a Lamar Jackson that stayed incredibly healthy his entire career, who's a little undersized, who likes to run the football. I would never wish injury upon anybody, but he stayed remarkably healthy for his size and his will to run. So
and he
plus
just
205
cut weight.
Yeah, and this we've been talking about it for 2 weeks now. This AFC is brutal. So I mean, strictly from value, I do not think they will miss the playoffs, but 2-1 odds in a very, very tough division and an incredibly tough conference. 2-1 where you lost a ton of talent and he's not reckless by any means. He doesn't take hits, but you have a quarterback that's not scared to run, who's a little undersized. Like,
and he's going to have a lot of weight on his back that he's carrying this year.
Like, I kind of like that. I mean, Harbaugh doesn't miss the playoffs. 7 teams make it now, or 9 teams, whatever it is. They upped it.
4 of the last 5 years they've made it.
Yeah, so I don't love them to miss the playoffs, but like I said, strictly from value, 2-1. I mean, you get better odds for them to miss the playoffs than you do for them to win the division. I like that.
Like if I'm looking at this roster,
the odds aren't
counting the things that can go wrong versus the things
exactly
that there are contingency plans for. There's a lot more that go wrong without a contingency plan.
And you look at the same best case scenario. Like, do you think they can win the AFC? I don't think so.
No,
you're only getting 5-1 to win the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. Like, don't love that. And then 10-1 to win the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know if I would take them 10-1 to win the AFC.
Yeah, I might just because of Lamar, but then I'd get in the whole playoff Lamar question and end up down a rabbit hole of introspection and like, you know, what is the point of life kind of questions. Yeah. So
realistically, I see this team right at the win total, probably around 10 to 12 wins, and I see them probably either losing wild card weekend or a divisional round. I don't think they win the division.
I don't either.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, if you gave me a budget and you made me place at least one future on every team in the league, and I have to pick one, I'm taking value where I can, and I'm taking plus 205 to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I don't like the over on wins. Like, I don't like the under because it's at minus 162, and I don't like the division. So that just leaves me at the missing the playoffs. Not that we're saying we think they'll miss the playoffs, but plus 205. That's the only bet on the board that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Week 1, Ravens Chiefs. We talked about it last week. I have the Ravens opening up the season. You have the Chiefs opening up the season with the win here. Raiders Ravens. Talked about it last week.
We like the Ravens in that game.
Yeah, we like the Ravens in that game. Week 3, Dallas Cowboys. It's criminal that this game is not prime time. Give me the Cowboys in this game.
I got the Cowboys as well.
Buffalo. You have the Ravens. I think I like the Bills here, man, in a week 4 matchup. I think the Bills might start the season pretty slow, but I really like them to kind of get it together, and that just seems like a Josh Allen, like, mash all the buttons game. Like, just go out there and just be Josh Allen.
No, that was a tough one. It was really, I just didn't want to do 2 losses in a row that early in the season for the Ravens, especially with one of the back end at home. I think they'll find a way.
I understand that. Then we just talked about the Bengals. We both have them winning at Cincinnati week 5. The Bengals winning in Cincinnati week 5 against the Ravens. Then we have the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders are going to win any games against this AFC North. So Ravens win that one. Going to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Monday Night Football. Baker Mayfield. Give me the Ravens in this game. Q has the Ravens as well.
That's a low key interesting one, though.
Very interesting.
That's going to be a tough game.
Yes, it is. And then we have Baltimore going to Cleveland week 8. You like the Browns in this game? I'm not as high on the Browns as you, but I feel like they're going to have to get some wins somewhere. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm back
give
and
me
forth on
Cleveland
this
here.
game. I'm back and forth on this one.
Yeah, I'll take Cleveland here, I guess. And then we have Denver going to Baltimore the next week. We both like the Ravens in that game. We have Cincinnati going to Baltimore Thursday Night Football the next week after that. We both like the Ravens there. And then Ravens-Steelers. Week 11. I'm going to take the Ravens here, but Ravens-Steelers is one of the best matchups in football, no matter. Throw out the record books, say all the cliches, like it's just always a great game. Then we have the Harbaugh brothers matching up. Talked about it last week. I like the Ravens in this game. He likes the Chargers. He likes John. John is a psychopath, I think. Jim is a little bit.
I like Jim.
Yeah, I get those brothers confused all the time. He likes Jim. Jim's a psychopath. John's a little bit more level-headed. Give me the level-headed one on Monday Night Football.
Man, I just think they are bound to go like win one, lose one, win one, lose one for the rest of perpetuity.
Until one of them kills
John
the
won the
real
last
life.
one, so Jim is gonna win this one, and then John wins the next one.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of them ends up getting murdered by the other one by the time it's all said and done. And then we have Philadelphia going to Baltimore. Q has the Ravens here. Oh man, I could see this being like, as much shit as I've talked on Kellen Moore, like he's in his bag like 2 or 3 times a season, and I could see it being this week. I'll give the Eagles this one.
G-L-E-S. Eagles.
Quentin's Eagles. He's got the Ravens in that game. Giants the next week after that, back to back NFC East opponents. Give me the Ravens. And then Steelers week 16 at Baltimore. I'll take the Steelers here.
Ooh, Steelers with this. Wait, did you give the Steelers the other one too?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. I was like, a Steelers sweep.
This is the type of rivalry where like the home team feels all the pressure because the fans hate the opposing team so much, to where I don't even know if home field advantage is a good thing in the Ravens-Steelers game, because your fans are just going to be so mad. And the second if you start slow, your fans are going to be just down your throats.
On this note, I've watched like 6 division games for the AFC North this week. These are the most physical teams in football.
Always.
Like these 4 teams just demolish each other. It's incredible to watch.
And as soon as the players just buy in, as soon as they get there, they're like, okay, fuck those other teams.
Hey, and I swear to God, nobody plays harder than the Steelers for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Like I watch that. It's just like, holy crap. These guys are just going 100 miles an hour all game long.
Steelers haven't had a good team in 5 years.
I know.
Just keep
it's insane.
winning records.
It's insane.
And then we have Houston late in the season going to Houston on Christmas Day. This screams CJ Stroud to me. I'm taking the Texans here.
I'm with you on that.
And then I'll take the Ravens with you for last game of the season. I think it's going to be one of those. I could see this being Browns playing for their playoff lives, and the Ravens potentially being able to lock up like a 2 seed, or maybe even the ability for a 1 seed. So
you've got them at 10-7. I've got them at 11-6.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.